Kyle Busch expected to stay at RCR in 2026. Would Teresa Earnhardt really have Dale Jr. arrested if he went to visit his dad? And Kyle Larson, greatest racing driver in the world? That's not what he said. Welcome back to Break Hard. I'm Matt. On Thursday, Jordan Bianchi from The Athletic was on the Door Bumper Clear live podcast at the Junior Motorsports Fan Day, and he dropped a little bit of silly season news, which I think we all expected, especially if you've been following silly season and trying to map out where people are going to go in 2026. He said that Kyle Busch is expected to return to Richard Childress Racing in 2026 and likely longer than that. It sounds like RCR is going to pick up his option for next year and then probably be a longer deal outside of that. And that makes total sense because where else was Kyle Busch going to go? Yes, I know there's a lot of Kyle Busch fans that are upset that he's at RCR. Started off with a bang in 2023. And the first 16 races he had with the team, they went to victory lane 3 times, Fontana, Talladega, Gateway. They looked like they were going to be on a championship path. And then since then, goose egg. Absolutely nothing from that point on. No wins since Gateway in 2023. And now it's just Kyle Busch. The talk is is he ever going to get back to victory lane? Was that his last one? Is that when Jimmy Johnson won at Dover for that last time? And now we sit around and wait. And it's all right, we're going to see if this can happen. And they've gotten speed. They're getting better. They're slowly getting better. If they get the right people up there and welcome, I think they can, in fact, get better. But it's a process, right? They're a 2-car team. They're not Hendrick Motorsports. It's a building process. And Kyle's there. But I know there's a lot of fans out there that are like, Kyle's got to go somewhere else. And there's a lot of fan fiction silly season that's on Reddit and on Twitter or X, the everything app, whatever you want to refer to it as. And they're like, you'll have people out there saying, oh, Kyle Busch should go to 2311 Racing, or Kyle Busch should go to Trackhouse and take over Suarez's ride, or Kyle Busch should go into his career at Hendrick Motorsports. Technically, his career started at Roush, but we're not going to get into semantics here. None of that makes any sense. From a Trackhouse standpoint, if they're going to make a move from Daniel Suarez or SVG, they have Connor Zilisch waiting in the wings right there. And Connor Zilisch, far cheaper than Kyle Busch. Connor Zilisch, much more sponsor attractive than Kyle Busch. No offense to Kyle there. And Connor Zilisch can probably get you nearly the same results as Kyle and be super competitive on road courses. Not that Kyle can't. He was really good at COTA this year. But Connor Zilisch has a much longer runway than an aging Kyle Busch. Same thing over at 2311 Racing. Oh, I should replace Riley Herbst. If anybody's going to replace Riley Herbst, it's going to be Corey Heim. Corey Heim's 22 years old. He has a much longer runway, same way Connor Zilisch does. He's way cheaper. And Toyota has invested so much money in him, they're going to want to put him in a cup car, not Kyle Busch, who they've had before and kind of didn't care about him leaving. I mean, if you remember, they even took their factory support from Kyle Busch Motorsports and put it over at Tricon before his full announcement to RCR even happened. So, yeah, for Kyle, there's no other spots for him to go that are better than the situation that he's currently in. So expect Kyle Busch back there. And Jordan also mentioned on the podcast that it's going to be a quiet, silly season. And he's absolutely right. There are certainly some pieces that could move that would make it a spicier silly season. But you're going to be more excited about the Xfinity silly season stuff than you are on the Cup side of things. As it currently stands, obviously there's a couple things that are working in the background, and Legacy tried to throw a wrench into things with acquiring a third charter and stuff like that. If anything like that were to happen, then maybe, but yeah, right now it's pretty quiet on the Western front, as they like to say. More, I guess, Eastern front, since it's North Carolina, whatever, it doesn't matter. Byron obviously is going to sign an extension with Hendrick Motorsports. He's not going anywhere. The only other real situation would be at Trackhouse. Do they make a move from the 88, the 99? Does Connor fill in one of those spots? That's probably the only other spot where you're going to see any potential movement at as it currently stands. So yeah, I wouldn't get super excited for silly season. Granted, things can absolutely change going forward. Things can change in a heartbeat, but as it currently stands, don't expect anything absolutely wild to happen at the moment. Would Teresa Earnhardt really have Dale Jr. and Kelly Earnhardt Miller arrested if they went to their dad's mausoleum? According to Kelly Earnhardt, she thinks that there's a solid chance that would happen. She said, quote, "She's so extreme we might get arrested." That is what Kelly said about the possibility of her and Dale visiting their dad's mausoleum, which is on the property of Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. I'm not sure if a lot of people know that or not, but you can go to Google Maps, find the old Dale Earnhardt Incorporated building there in Mooresville, Kannapolis, whatever it is, and look out behind there. You'll see the mausoleum, as you can see in the picture right here. Well curated, well manicured, grass is always cut, that type of thing. Yeah, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kelly Earnhardt Miller can't go visit their dad's final resting spot. Teresa won't allow them to do that. Those comments were made in a Washington Post story about Dale Jr., Dale Sr., and the Earnhardt documentary that is out on Prime now. I absolutely think you should watch it. I watched the first episode on Thursday morning. It was really well done. Excited to watch episode 2 there. But yeah, that is where Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s final resting spot is at. And in the article, Dale Jr. said he hasn't been back there in 20 years. He has been back there since, his dad passed away in 2001. Teresa allowed everybody to go to the mausoleum after, for the funeral, obviously for that. But it sounds like Kelly hasn't been back there since that day in 2001. Dale Jr. did say in the article that he may have revisited or visited that area again about 20 years ago, maybe with a little bit of liquid courage as well, but hasn't been back since, which is really sad to think that he hasn't been back to see his dad's final resting spot, the spot where his dad has been interred at for eternity, essentially, in nearly 20 years, since like 04, 05. Yeah, it's sad because I'm sure everybody watching this video at some point has gone to a cemetery, visited the plot of a loved one, had a one-sided conversation, and it brings comfort, right? And Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kelly Earnhardt Miller have been robbed of having that, comfort in their life, it's sad, really. The article at the Washington Post said that they did reach out to Teresa Earnhardt and her lawyers to ask if the kids were allowed to go back there. They received no answer back, which isn't a shock. So, yeah, it seemed like Teresa had started to shift, more goodwill towards Dale Jr., Kelly Earnhardt, allowing the number 8 trademark to lapse, allowing Dale Earnhardt Jr. to get it back, that type of thing. But maybe not. I know I stopped calling her the Wicked Witch of the Southeast, and I'm going to refrain from calling her that still until, maybe we get a little bit of clarity here. But yeah, imagine just having somebody arrested for wanting to go see their dad's final resting spot. That would be so sad and cruel, and just like, what are we even doing here? I would just laugh at it. Like, if the police showed up, I'd be like, all right, dude, you're going to arrest me for trespassing? Like, I don't give a shit. Like, who cares? Yeah, it's just sad at the end of the day. So hopefully they can eventually go back there and see their dad, but as it currently stands, doesn't sound like it. All right, last topic of the day. I'm starting to think that Europeans and Formula One fans really lack reading comprehension. I don't know what level they read at over there, but they might want to go back to school and just learn how to read a little bit more, maybe collect it in their brains a little bit better. Because right now, everybody seems to think that Kyle Larson called himself the greatest driver in the world. And at no point did Kyle Larson ever say that. Kyle Larson has said and reiterated this past week to Jeff Gluck from The Athletic that he is a better all-around driver than Max Verstappen, which is vehemently true. That's very factual. He is a better all-around driver. His racing resume and the amount of cars that he's raced, he's won in, far exceeds what Max has done in his career. Max is a great driver. Max is a great open-wheel driver. But that's it. We don't know what else Max can do because he hasn't done anything. Oh, well, he went out to the Nürburgring a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and he turned in lap times better than the pole sitter there, better than the track record. Those are unofficial times. None of that matters. Until there's an official time, you're basically all just acting in hypotheticals. So yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't care what he did. Until there's an official time out there and we know what the specs on the car were, none of it matters. None of it matters. And I think eventually when he does get done racing Formula One, he'll go race other series and things like that. And at that point, maybe we can call him a better all-around driver than Kyle Larson. But right now, Larson is the better all-around driver. He said to Jeff Gluck this week, quote, "People act like I'm the one that said I'm the greatest racing driver in the world. I never said that. I just said I'm a better all-around driver than Max Verstappen, and they took that as I said I'm the greatest in the world, because for some reason Max is considered the greatest in the world, so it's funny. I mean, I expect it when I have a crash or something, but it's fine." The last sentence there is in reference to every time Larson has an incident in NASCAR or whatever, people always respond on Twitter with greatest driver in the world in a sarcastic tone. But he never called himself the greatest driver in the world. People just took that and think that's what he said. What he actually said last year at the Knoxville Nationals, which is a dirt race in Iowa with sprint cars for all the people from Formula One that are going to rage tune into this or saw it on TikTok or whatever, Kyle said, quote, "I know in my mind I'm better than him as an all-around driver. There's no way Max can get into a sprint car and win the Knoxville Nationals. There's no way he can get in the car and win the Chili Bowl. There's no way he can go win a cup race at Bristol. I know I'm better than him. Maybe not an open wheel IndyCar or F1 car. I think I would beat him in everything else." You can quote that. And he's absolutely right. He is better than everything else out there. And as it currently stands, he is a better all-around driver than Max. The same way that Connor Zilisch, as it stands, is a better all-around driver than Max Verstappen. Same with Shane Van Gisbergen. They've all won and participated in more series than Max. Yes, we all agree Max is a really good driver, really good Formula One driver. But until we see him take those skills and win in other cars, other series, other disciplines, it's kind of a moot point. Kyle Larson is a better all-around driver. So let me know in the comments what you think about Kyle Busch staying at RCR, the Teresa Earnhardt comments from Kelly Earnhardt, as well as the Kyle Larson world's greatest driver or just better all-around driver. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok @BreakHard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook @BreakHardBlog.